Amazon has unleashed 4 episodes of Season 2 of The Rings of Power upon the world, and, well, I haven't watched a second of it. I've listened to a fair few reviews of it, quite a number of breakdowns, so I know basically what's going on, and outside of it being preponderously boring, it simply seems like a continuation from Season 1's baffling stupidity, and perhaps even taking it up a notch. But we're only halfway through the season, okay? We don't have the entire story, so it's unfair to criticize it. But it's the same way that the critics will go ahead and praise a series for only seeing 1, 2, maybe half a season at best before writing glowing praise for it, but nobody has problems with that. There's a real problem, not with toxic negativity, toxic fandoms, but with toxic positivity. But that's another subject for another time. When you point out the stupidity that has already been on screen, like trying to humanize the orcs, like, is that what you're trying to do? Okay, you're not trying to humanize Galadriel, who is one of the most, if not the most insufferable girl bosses ever committed to film. You're just gonna try to decide beings of pure evil, pure corrupted evil. That's a bold move, and it would take a deft hand to write, but you've got Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne writing this stuff, and frankly, they ain't got the talent for it. Hell, they can't even craft a somewhat coherent metaphor, let alone recharacterizing quintessential evil. Let's see what they have to say about this, because, well, it's very stupid. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay addressed why they attempted to humanize the orcs in the second season of the show, yeah, with a baby. It's more than that. Like, it shows an orc with sentient thoughts in a family. Like, that's not orcs, bro. That's not Tolkien's orcs, and you're supposed to be sticking closer to canon in the second season? Nothing. No, it's not. Especially in this time frame. Whatever. In the second season's 3rd episode, one orc is depicted questioning to go to war, and then is shown embracing a female orc with a young baby, with the obvious implications that the orc questioning going to war is a father and husband of a female orc and child. Speaking with Deadline about the scene, J.D. Payne declared, from the beginning of this season, we talked about the idea of having an arc. My God, we talked about telling a story with an arc. They got $1 billion to do this show. Jesus. And we feel like let's go straight back to Tolkien. Well, you can feel all you want. Does it, though? No, it doesn't. You read the books, and you get these blips of moments where arcs are kind of on their own and they're saying, hey, if we go back there, could there be a place for us? Could we have our own little land of ours, or of our own, a little cottage by the sea, so to speak, where they have dreams, they have aspirations, they just don't want to be mindless killing machines. Yeah, can you point to that anywhere in the text? Anywhere in the text? Anywhere? No, you just feel like it's very Tolkienian. Because Tolkien talked about redemption arcs all the time for all of his characters, except for what's that group of people? Orcs, because they're mindless killing machines. Jesus. We could take this a step further and continue to individualize them and dramatize what their desires and ambitions might be. And we always are fascinated by the idea that the orcs are fallen elves. They're corrupted elves, you absolute tard. But that's all right. Why would I expect the showrunners, right, to know anything about the lore that they're adapting? Payne said, yes, Tolkien has this idea that evil can't create anything. It can only corrupt. Hilarious that they're talking about the showrunners and they have the audacity to say that without any self-reflection. That these elves, these amazing, beautiful creatures, could be corrupted into orcs was fascinating to us. And so the idea of Adar as this missing link between the two to get his story. Yeah, Adar, a character that they made up, has gets his story as who he was as an elf and how and why he was turned, and then to see where they could lead him in terms of being a father of an entire race. That felt really compelling to us. Well, I'm glad it did to you guys, because to the general population, nobody cared, bro. Nobody cared, because here you have, right? Okay, for the first 2 episodes, right? Because this is even worse. This is even worse than a lot of people are pointing out, right? Because you have 1.8 million minutes. So this is from Samba TV. It's not the entire picture, right? Because this just counts from certain streaming apps. Like, I think it's Roku and some Samsung TVs and stuff like that. Like, it's not the entire picture. It's not people watching on desktops or Google Chrome and other things like that. But it's a general bellwether that's widely accepted. And as we know, in totality, when it came to the numbers, 63% of people didn't see the show through to conclusion for season 1. But yeah, 1.8 million U.S. households, watched the premiere of The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power during its first 4 days available on Prime Video. So 1.8 million people. That's not great. That's really not great. And it's even worse when you go into account that half of those people checked out season 2 over 5 days. And there were 3 episodes. There was more content, a longer period of time, and fewer people checked out any of it. Yeah, this show's dead, bro. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, a season 2 premiere viewership reportedly suffers nearly 50% decline from season 2. Yup. Data tracking firm Samba TV reported that the first episode of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power season 2 is only watched by 902,000 U.S. households in its first 5 days. Back in February of 2023, following the conclusion of the show's first season. Well, no, that was tail end of 22 when this thing first wrapped up. But that was, when the numbers were revealed. Samba TV revealed that the premiere episode of the show was watched by 1.8 million households in the first 4 days after release. It eventually racked up 3.3 million views in the first 15 days. Brother. Still not very good. Well, it's better than The Acolyte, but still not good at all. Yeah, the decline from 1.8 to a 902 is a whopping 49.8%. Well, it depends on how many thousands and hundreds of people, checked it out after the 800,000 viewer proclamation, but basically half got chopped off. Well, the decline is massive. It is not really surprising, given the report from Kim Masters of The Hollywood Reporter back in April of 2023 revealed that, yes, 63% of individuals who watched part of the show's premiere back in 2022 did not complete the show. She wrote, while Amazon, like other streamers, provide only limited data, and internally, it held information even more closely than usual on the series. Sources confirmed that The Rings of Power had a 37% domestic completion rate. Overseas it was 8 points better at 45%. 50% completion rate is pretty much bog standard, but because this is a gigantic vanity project by Jeff Bezos himself, who even went as far as to do a title card reveal to make a sign for the show that hangs in his office. Like, this is a passion project of Jeff Bezos. If it wasn't that intrinsically tied to him, this show would be yeeted after this season. Hell, the budget would have been severely slashed for this one, and it would have been finito after this, but they've done all that they can in order to make this a success. They wanted their own Game of Thrones, but you ended up with Game of Thrones Season 8. Not only does it look like the show has driven away a significant portion of the potential audience with the first season, but the second season appears to be driving even more people away, even with a 3-episode premiere. I'm waiting to see the number of minutes watched just to see how pathetic it is. Because, in just a little over a week, you get 4 hours of content. I want to see how many people watch that stuff in the first 2 weeks, because I couldn't imagine that it's better than season 1, or really imagine a show that it is much better than. Looking at IMDb, the third episode has over 30% less than the first episode, indicating that a significant portion of the audience watched the first episode or just parts of it and did not continue watching the second or third episode. And I would also like to see, and we'll go ahead and take a look, because here we have the live and up-to-date season 2 reviews. So 9.7 thousand reviews for episode 1, 7.6 for episode 2, 7.2. Okay, so it looks like we found the bottom on this one. But episode 4 is out. It's out for the world to see. Even though I'm recording this Thursday evening, it's out. You can see it. Tom Bombadil's in it, and it makes no sense. Why nobody's even had the time or care to go and check this crap out. Also because episode 3 gets a 6.3. That's not great. And just looking at the Rotten Tomatoes split, where it's like, critics, makes sense on that one. But it's all, as we've looked at it before, is just a bunch of no-name top critics that are bolstering that 83%. But season 2, man, season 2 is absolute trash. And the only reason that anybody cares about this, because if it was actually a unique idea, if Amazon decided to put all of this effort behind an original IP, nobody would care about this, but the only reason that anybody's paying attention to it is because it's bastardizing Tolkien, and it goes to show you that these freaks never create anything. They can only corrupt. There was a wise man who once said that. He had a specific way to refer to them. Was it unjust, cruel? Oh, no, right. It was Amazon. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.